Do you think Alexi needs a lawyer?
Yeah, I think he definitely needs a lawyer.
So Alexi, if you're watching this, you may have signed something that prevents you from publicly discussing aspects of your contract. But I got good news for you. No one can keep you from talking to a lawyer. Reach out to me. We can see if there's a legal way to help.
And here's the answer Alexi gave. During the release of episode 80, he demonstratively subscribed to Mike's page, thereby publicly showing that he's cooperating with him. What did Mike and Alexi talk about? And is there a chance for Skibidi Toilet to return to its rightful author? You'll learn this and much more in today's video, so don't forget to hit like and also subscribe to the channel. Well, let's begin. But let's first realize how significant this gesture itself is. Alexei demonstratively subscribed to Mike exactly during the release of episode 80. This isn't a random coincidence. This is a thought-out action. Think about the timing. On the day when the company releases its episode without him, Alexei publicly shows that he's connected with a lawyer who criticizes this company. This is a subtle but powerful signal, and this is very much in Alexei's spirit. He can't speak out directly because of the contract. Therefore, he communicates through actions. Subscribing to Mike is his way of showing his position without uttering a single forbidden word. For a person who's been gagged, this is a witty circumvention of restrictions. I found out from Cameraman that Mike contacted Defuk Boom, but what they talked about, Mike didn't tell. He said he can't comment on this, and this is understandable because the conversation was private. But let's reason about what Mike could even offer Alexi. I'm not a lawyer, of course, but there are several logical options. The first and most obvious option is a consultation on the contract. Mike could study the agreement and find weak spots or loopholes in it that would allow Alexi to speak out publicly without violating the agreement. After all, the contract can forbid talking about the company but can't forbid consulting with a lawyer. The second option is help in negotiations. Mike, as a professional lawyer, could act as an intermediary. It's one thing when Alexei alone proves something to a corporation, and a completely different thing when a lawyer stands behind him. His very presence changes the balance of power. The third option, the most serious, is preparation for court. If there are violations in the contract or the company illegally uses the correspondence, Alexi may have grounds for a lawsuit, and Mike could assess the chances of success. And the fourth option is moral support. Perhaps Mike simply explained to Alexei his rights. Sometimes it's important for a cornered person to understand that he's not completely powerless. First, it's a fact that the contract has a clause that prohibits Alexei from freely speaking about Skibidi Toilet and the company. There's confirmation of this, and the recent failed interview with Steven Asarch showed this. When the company says they didn't forbid Alexei to speak and freely express his thoughts, this is not true. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been this circus for 5 months, and the conflict would have been resolved in a few hours. All the ignoring from Alexei, his hidden messages in the form of music, shorts, and the like, shows that he can't communicate freely. But does this mean he's used all options? Or, let me put it this way, does he even want to speak out? We'll return to this question when we discuss Alexei's actions. The company claims that Alexei started cooperating with them starting in November 2023, and then he temporarily transferred copyright to Inviz with the right to return it. But in May 2025, Alexei decided to fully transfer the rights to the company. He was also consulted with serious lawyers, which means he couldn't be deceived, and that the decision was already made by him personally. But what if I tell you that this was the only option for him? The company is right. Alexei himself sold Skibidi Toilet and earned from it. But let's look from the very beginning, as only this way can we understand Alexei's actions. Constant strikes and fighting with scammers required protection. The protection became a company called Inviz. Initially, they didn't interfere in Alexei's affairs and simply did their job from the sidelines and promoted the project at a high level. As you know, all collaborations with games, toys, and movie creation, all this happened thanks to the company. But over time, they began to pressure Alexei and lie. Viewers remember that one of the first global and public disappointments was in 2024. When practically all YouTubers about Skibidi Toilet started advertising the number 10, 124. I remind you that this was involuntary advertising, and all those YouTubers who cooperated with the company had to advertise this. This number was shoved everywhere, in every fan-made video, on social media, and even on Alexei's personal Steam account. And of course, everyone thought about some global event. and the disappointment was that it was an announcement of new toys. Later, it turned out this idea and decision was from the company. This was the first failure from Invis, but we couldn't even imagine that in the future it would be even worse. This is just one of the public examples of the company's influence on Alexei, and we don't know what was happening behind the scenes over 3 years. After this, some erroneous complaints to Gary's mod occurred on behalf of Supcaman. December 19, 2024, there was already a conflict with the company. YouTuber EBO asks Alexei how he's doing, to which he gets the answer that, "Very disgusting and terrible people have entered my life, and I can't do anything about it." It's no secret that Alexei means the company. Then he says he can't name specific people, obviously because of the contract. February 22nd, Defuk writes that he's not okay, and that the problem isn't that people want new episodes faster. The problem is the people he works with and what they're like. He feels deceived. They lie to him. He's paranoid. He's irritated by how they communicate with him, how they approach the work, their prices, their real capabilities and means. He feels trapped, and the people he admired in the past are actually those he no longer wants to work with. Then he writes that this doesn't mean such conversations never happened with them. It's like talking to a wall, absolutely useless. There's no hope with them, Alexei wrote.
Hi, Adam. Got a minute today or this week? Missed voice call. 7:11 p.m. Adam, tomorrow if you don't mind, at a dinner with my kids for my B-Day. All okay? Alexi, of course. Just told Dylan I had some positive news, but I didn't know it's birthday. Wishing the best happy birthday, Adam. Adam, tell me you got passport. Screenshot, May 7th, 2025, excerpt 2. Alexi, there's some movement there, yes. This has some stages to it, and now we're closer to that. At least I know things work there and not stuck. But more importantly, after further considerations and some discussions with trusted faces, I realized that I'm ready to sign term sheet this week. Just whenever Mark lawyers apply the notes, I'm down to sign and start all the process of asset transfer, etc., as soon as possible. Let's get this thing done. Alexi, also can't wait to see Michael Bay thing. I'm very stoked.
2025 became the most terrible year for Alexei. As we see, in May, Alexei made the final decision about selling Skibidi Toilet. May 7th, 2025, Alexei writes to Adam that he's ready to sign the full transfer of copyright to him. Here's the full correspondence. We need to understand that by this point he weighed all the pros and cons. He's making a conscious step. No one forced him, and rather events developed in such a way that it would be better to just take, sell, and end this once and for all. Everything that happened after October 2025 is just trolling from Alexei's side. I'll say why later. May 31st, 2025, Defuk writes, "Hi everyone. In real life, I have matters that don't require postponement. If they hadn't interfered, episode 79, part 1 would have come out as promised, but it needs to be postponed a bit, about a week. All animation work is already done, only final rendering, editing, and sound design remain. I didn't want to release new leaks, but since there's a delay, here's a bit more while I continue preparing the main course. See you soon. I'm fine. There are circumstances that can't be postponed. This is about Skibidi Toilet. As we see, the decision to transfer rights was already made but not signed. And from this day, Alexei had to hold out until the day of signing the contract and then leave this company. Everything collapsed after Alexei began publicly speaking out and suspecting that he was being deceived. And he decided to share these thoughts with subscribers in his Discord. Here's what he wrote. I'm very disappointed and upset lately, brothers. It seems to me that the movie isn't being made. At least, I haven't received any updates, haven't seen any previews, haven't been involved in discussing details. Just nothing. Recently, the idea appeared to make a small joint project, a kind of collaboration. And this idea has been in development for at least half a year, as if no one is working, or at least no one talks about it openly. I'm completely isolated from the process. No concepts, no updates. Over the phone, they described something unclear and vague to me. I saw fragments of the script, and that's it. I feel like a fool. My hope is fading at an incredible speed. As you can see, it got to the point where Alexi was forced to share with his viewers. A few hours later, a video appears on Michael Bay's page where he shows that work is in full swing and everything like that. After this, Alexi's post is deleted, and then an absurd short from Alexi is published where he rejoices about the film. I can assume that after Adam, the company's CEO, saw this post, he immediately called his friend Michael Bay to quickly make a video showing that work is moving forward and everything is fine. We understood this from this screenshot. Here Alexei will write, "In Invis, they told me that there was a small misunderstanding on my part, and it seemed they wanted to surprise me, and Michael is a perfectionist and doesn't like to share details at the preparation stage. I won't publish this, I'll just pass on what they told me. I think Michael will publish something today, and it seems to me everything will work out positively for us. I'll wait until this happens. Could you delete the previous message, the one you published this morning? I don't know exactly when the final contract with full transfer of copyright was signed and whether it was signed at all, but what I know for sure is that from November 2025 until today, non-disclosure rules apply. That is, it's possible that even after signing the contract, Alexi has no right to say anything against the company. When Adam saw the Bring Boom Back movement, he decided to write to Alexi, asking him to make a statement that he left the project himself and that no one stole the project from him, to which Alexei refuses. After all, according to the contract, he's not obliged to fulfill Adam's requests, and his refusal is free. In principle, everything went according to his plan. The rules changed. Alexei started a big game. Since Alexei couldn't work fully and was essentially forced to sell the rights, he decided to simply destroy everything. All correspondence after November is trolling from Alexei. He deliberately agrees with them and basically no longer pays attention to them. He simply fulfills his contractual obligations. He agrees with them in all decisions and doesn't argue, and there's no point in it. It's just funny. Look how he later angers Adam. Most likely, the transfer of copyright and subsequently Alexei's voluntary departure from the project was at the end of December 2025 when this statement appeared. This post was agreed upon with Alexei. This is clear from Alexei's correspondence with Adam. Alexei wanted to quickly finish episode 79 and leave this company as soon as possible, and this was evident in the episode's quality. After he left work, the company was likely forced to make such a statement that supposedly Alexei is now an executive producer. Alexei mentions in correspondence that he already gave approval for his statement. And most likely, he meant this particular statement. Adam says that Alexei approved Emergence, and this is true, but Adam didn't take into account that this was a bluff. Defuk Boom, who criticized raw fan-made content and even Dom Studio, simply couldn't speak positively about this. And he did it in the general chat on purpose. Alexei says that Emergence is essentially a masterpiece, but of course this isn't true. Then the conversation is about episode 80, and Adam says that possibly the episode will be on the Source engine, to which Alexei insists on continuing on the Unreal engine. I don't know about you, but I see obvious trolling from Alexei here, and I get the feeling he wants failure, and that's exactly what happened. After publishing the first episode, the company received a ton of hate and the Bring Boom Back movement. But we know Alexei. We know he would never allow such content on his channel, and since he already knew the channel essentially belongs to the company, he decided to destroy them this way. The plan worked. The second part of the plan: just stay silent and wait for the company's collapse. Adam urgently contacts Alexi and writes to him in horror.
Right now, there's a narrative online that the channel was stolen from you. You and I both know that's not true. You sold it, we agreed to terms, and everything was done above board. But because you're staying quiet, your fans are filling the vacuum, and Invisible is getting attacked. Some of it has crossed into anti-Semitic garbage. It's not okay, and it's not sustainable. You and I are supposed to be in this together. I know you don't have to do anything, and I'm not trying to force you into some public stance. But there's a difference between not doing anything and letting a narrative spin so far out of control that it damages everything ahead of us. If this keeps escalating, we risk flopping the entire roadmap for the franchise. I don't need you to go public. I'm not asking for statements or drama. What I do need is for you to reach out privately to Iron Cameraman, EBO, and Zach Dorr and tell them clearly that you're fine, that you weren't robbed, and that they're wrong about what happened. Not overly polite, not cryptic, just authentic. When you hedge, they fill in the blanks, and it fuels more speculation. You stand to make millions if we execute the plan the way we've laid it out. But that only happens if the universe stays stable. Letting people mythologize you as the martyr while invisible takes the hit isn't fair. And it's not how partners treat each other. Your voice shuts this down instantly. My silence has protected you. I need your silence not to become a weapon against us. Alexi, Adam, I hear everything you're dealing with, and I get why this situation feels heavy on your side. But I have to stay within the boundaries we set and what's safe for me legally and reputationally. I really can't do private outreach to creators or fans. You know as well as I do how unpredictable and intense this community can be. Didn't I tell you these fans are crazy sometimes? That's exactly why I felt exhausted and stepped back in the first place. Private messages can get leaked, twisted, or turned into something else, and that creates a whole different chaos. Just to be clear, I have never controlled, coordinated, or encouraged anyone to say anything negative. My silence isn't a move or a signal. It's simply me staying consistent with the structure we built. You already have the statement I approved, and you're fully free to use it whenever you think it's needed. This isn't a lack of support or bad faith. It's me staying within what we agreed and trying to protect both sides from unnecessary risk. Adam, you're acting like this thing is already safe, already built, already immortal. It isn't. We're barely out of the gate. If you think a global franchise survives a year of conspiracy theories, creator martyr fantasies, and anti-Semitic attacks without the creator stepping up, you're fooling yourself. If you won't correct a lie that you know is poisoning the ground under us, then be honest with me. Do you actually care about the future of this thing? Or are you fine watching it burn as long as you personally stay out of the blast radius? I expect so much more of you. Grow up and stop being such a troll. You have been flaking on all your responsibilities on being an EP and a director. How can I possibly back this relationship going forward? Are you really just driven by fear? You say you're protecting your reputation, but reputations aren't protected by silence. They're destroyed by it. Letting people run wild with a narrative you know is false isn't neutral. It's cowardly. It's weak. It's hiding behind legalese because you're afraid to speak plainly to 3 people who would listen to you instantly. And let's be very clear, if this narrative keeps growing, there will be fallout. Fans will turn, partners will get scared, brands will hesitate, and the revenues you're imagining down the line, they will not exist. Nobody invests millions into chaos and bad optics. This isn't magic, it's business. You want my help with the bank, and I'll give it. I always do. I've protected you at every step. I've carried all of this publicly while you stayed quiet. I'm flying to Dubai strictly to show up for you in person because partnership means something to me. But partnership is not a one-way street. I can't keep shielding you while you refuse to lift a finger to shield the franchise. I'm asking for something microscopic. 3 private messages. Just the truth. Just enough to stop a lie from destroying what you've built and we invested into. You want to over that badly? Why? Tell the truth to these guys privately and this goes away. If you're unwilling to do even that, then tell me clearly so I know who I'm actually dealing with. Because if you're going to act like a child who won't face the consequences of his own community, then I'm finished being the grown-up in the room. Screenshot, November 25th, 2025. Adam, I understand you're under pressure and I see the urgency in your message. The audience's reaction is loud, but this intensity has always been a defining part of the Skibidi Toilet ecosystem. They react strongly because they care deeply about the project. Nothing about this pattern is unusual. You've described this segment of the audience yourself as a very small but vocal minority, and not the group you intended to engage or monetize long-term. So I am unclear why their strong reaction now is being treated as something requiring my direct involvement. Given how passionate this audience is, any intervention from me, public or private, carries a high risk of being misinterpreted, escalating things further, or conflicting with the limits of our agreement. It will not fix the situation, and it would not be appropriate or safe for me to take on that role. My responsibilities have clear boundaries, and I have stayed fully in compliance within them. These limits were defined in detail during the agreement process at your insistence. I'm not expanding or altering them. My participation stays strictly within the creative scope, nothing beyond it. You have a PR and communications team specifically hired to handle situations like this, including addressing individuals you've referred to as lunatics. While I personally don't share that characterization, it shows Invis already has the resources meant for this. And there is also the pre-approved statements, created by Invis itself within our agreement, available for use whenever necessary. Those are the proper channels for handling perception and presenting Invis's narrative to the audience. Alexi, I've spoken positively about the project when appropriate in private conversations, but involvement in community messaging, audience management, or narrative correction is outside my obligations and outside the role defined for me. Expanding that scope is a non-starter for me. I will continue providing creative support strictly within the limits of my defined responsibilities. Anything beyond that lies outside what was structured, and I cannot take on obligations that were never part of the agreement. Alexi, Adam, you keep talking about agreements, boundaries, PR structures, but this isn't about any of that. It's simpler. Your fans think something bad happened to you, and you're allowing that misunderstanding to grow. They just want to know you're okay. That's all. When you came to me on May 7th after speaking with people close to you, you told me clearly you wanted to step back and sell. You weren't distressed, you weren't pressured, you were clear and steady. And here's the truth. I was being advised by my partners to protect myself more, to structure the deal in a way that kept you from shifting later or creating problems. I was told to play it harder and safer. But I didn't do that because I believed in you. I believed in the connection you and I had built. I believed that you were being sincere, and at every turn, I chose trust over caution. So when you now talk about sticking strictly to defined limits, it doesn't match the reality of how this all started. I'm not asking you to make a public statement or announce anything you don't want to say. If saying you sold it feels wrong to you, fine, then let's figure out another path together. But leaving me completely alone with this firestorm is not partnership, and it hurts because it's not the version of you I believed in. And this isn't about my personal comfort. I can take heat. This is about my team, real people with families who depend on this working. And beyond them, the people who bought into this world because we inspired them. The scholastic authors writing YA drafts right now. The game studios pouring time and resources into prototypes. The partners and creators who believe in the future of this universe. These people are investing themselves in this. They matter. They're not less important than Elite or EBO or Zach Dorr, simply because those guys send you flattering emails or make sycophantic videos. Surely your ego isn't so fragile that their adoration weighs more than the people actually helping build something lasting. And I need to say something you haven't wanted to hear. Your final episode wasn't a farewell. It wasn't a swan song. It wasn't a moment honoring the fans or the years of passion you put into this. You didn't work with us to craft something that felt like your legacy. You just made another episode, and then you walked away. Adam, that's what makes your current stance so confusing. You aren't being truthful about the situation, and that's what hurts. Because the fans are filling the silence with their own stories, and you're just watching it happen like you have no role in it. When you step back, it created a vacuum. Not because you failed, but because you mattered. And pretending that vacuum isn't real doesn't make it go away. I've carried all of it because I believed in you. I still do. But saying absolutely nothing, doing absolutely nothing, that's where the real harm is. I'm not angry. I'm actually looking forward to seeing you next week, celebrating and planning what's ahead. We have so much possibility in front of us, but right now it feels like you're pulling away from the very thing we're trying to build. And I can't understand why. Just help. Be a partner. Help steady this. Bay is beyond spooked. He is now unsure whether he should continue. I'm doing everything I can to keep him calm and committed, but he doesn't want to release in a buzzsaw. We have something rare here, something that could last. I believed in you, and I still do. I believe you believed in me too. I'm not asking for much. Just show up. Be a partner. Be a man.
Actually, Defuk Boom could have contacted us long ago. I still don't understand why he stopped communicating even with those he usually communicated with. He doesn't even answer his best friend. This suggests that the situation is more serious than it seems, and that the pressure on him is stronger than we think. And by the way, Alexi has an anniversary on Twitter. After the release of episode 80, the number of subscribers on his page significantly increased. Now he has 100,000, and I think that in honor of this he may make a statement. Although knowing his current position, any statement will surely be very cautious. But the fact that he subscribed to Mike gives hope. It means that inside, he hasn't given up, that he's still looking for ways, still following the situation, still wants justice. Silence doesn't equal capitulation. Sometimes silence is just a forced tactic of a person who doesn't have other options yet. Although, if Boom wanted to contact us, he would do it in various ways. Nothing prevents him from just telling us the whole truth from the perspective of a random person. And here's what's important to understand about this whole episode with Mike: the subscriber growth. All these events together paint one picture. The company released episode 80, but real life isn't bubbling around it. It's bubbling around Alexi. People subscribe to him, a lawyer contacts him, the audience awaits his statement, and the episode from Strider itself, with all respect to his work, is perceived as a copy without a soul, which even its creator himself acknowledges. And at the end, I want to share good news with you. I managed to get rid of the strike on YouTube that was sent to me during my stream about episode 80. This, by the way, was the first time YouTube blocked a stream, and for some reason, they blocked exactly those who are part of the Bring Boom Back movement. Well then, this has been Super Cameraman. See you very soon.